Hello, hello, hello. Welcome one, welcome all. How y'all doing? Welcome to the office hours. Running a little late because I had to get some food, but yeah. In fact, I'm going to be a little later because I forgot to take my medicine. As you can tell, my nose is entirely clogged up. All right, I'm back. Sorry about that. Let's get to the office. Hello, welcome to the office. Welcome to Office Hours. This is a live stream that I do on Thursdays at twitch.tv/TheAstroPub, youtube.com/TheAstroPubLive, where we talk about Star Citizen and news and lore and such like that. So how y'all doing? Yeah. There we go. Hey, Kaboom. How you doing, Black to Burn? Bastin, Treesan, Hourglass Mage, Umatenchi Kuro, Friday Savior. Oh yes, Bastion. I'm glad to hear that. I didn't get a special ticket, so I'm just normal. Been in 2 weeks of back-to-back conferences. I'm here to unplug my brain, listen to some office hours. That has been me for the last 2 weeks. It's probably the reason why I got sick. It's not the Rona. It's I think it's a cold that's been made worse by sinuses, because we've had some like really incredible temperature drops, which sounds, this is going to sound insane, but we went from a high of 104, or average of like 101, to an average of like 94. That's a pretty big temperature drop over the course of like a week. Less than a week. It was like, it's been happening. But it also means that the lows go from being, you know, 90 something, 89 to 90, to 68. So it gets really cold now. Or not really cold. It gets much colder than it used to be. So I think that fucked up with my my brain and stuff like that. So, hey, Shinobi. I also work at school, so it's a breeding factory for bacteria and other diseases. I'll be fine. It's so the worst part about this is that it's the worst type of cold. I feel fine. I don't even feel, I mean, the worst it is, I feel a little bit more drained at the end of the day than I normally do. You know, but I can still do stuff. I can still talk. I can still move around a lot. Like, I can do the normal things that I'm supposed to do on a day-to-day basis. I just feel like garbage while doing it. That's it. I don't have a fever or anything like that. So it's just like, ugh. You just feel like death while also still being able to do everything. So, yeah. Always get one head cold in the transition. Yeah, but see, I teach teenagers, not kids. They're still kids, but like, and that's not really that much difference. AstroPub, have we learned anything about planned effects for player consumable / inflictable drugs? For example, player doses another player with hallucinogenic substances, and the effect starts to seeing non-existent NPCs or creatures, trippy colors, hears audio effects randomly, etc. We haven't heard anything specific about that, but we have. We do know that they want to have effects happen. The question becomes, how much do they want to do that might cause problems or might cause other issues. I'd love to see that. You know, I'd also love to see like psychological effects on regen, where like you'll hear sounds or see things happen that didn't actually happen, like see NPCs that are around you that aren't actually there. As you get worse and worse in regen, just because I think those sorts of effects, even if it's like a chance, would be funny, because they would be they could pop up at the weirdest times, and they'd also be a good kind of visible representation of a gameplay consequence of having to regen. Yeah, sensory degradation, because like the whole concept of regeneration and like the big death, the ghost, the final goodbye, as it were. Once you can no longer regen, it's like your body is fundamentally breaking down. And it's not that your body's breaking down. Like, you can regen with your hand. It's just that your brain doesn't believe a hand's there anymore. So it just does no longer the connection doesn't exist. So it's more of like you have to get replacement limbs because your brain thinks that you've lost your limbs, because it's got so much trauma built up into it that it just doesn't know what's left from its right. After playing many hours of Starfield, I can see a place for temporary buffs in Star Citizen. Yeah. I've always thought that giving buffs based off of complexity of food is not a bad thing. Or using like stims, for instance, for like combat stims, to let you run harder or move faster. And a lot of people's like, well, that's an unfair advantage. It's like, it's just preparation. Because these obviously effects will have a limited effect, and there'll probably be a larger cooldown. Like, once you hit the end of those stims, you just die. Not die, but like your combat ability drops, because you're like pumping yourself full of adrenaline and other things like that. There's definitely payoffs and like side effects, like upsides and downsides for those sorts of gameplay mechanics if they could make them right. And I think it makes it interesting. And I understand why CIG isn't working on that right now, because Star Citizen, like, the brain knows the armor's gone. It also felt it happen. Yeah. The most I hate are the reacts when you get a many stuff and you're playing match, but then all is lost. Are you talking about like 30Ks? That's something they're working on. Hey, Doug, how you doing? I don't know what you're talking about. The reset? Oh, like the wipes. Yeah. That's going to happen for a while, though. That'll probably happen for another 2 years or so. I don't think CIG wants to actively do a lot of resets going forward, but they aren't working on it because the entire economy surrounding the whole sea is terrible. Even without bugs, there's no reason to run a cargo with the whole sea. There are so many other things they have to put into place that they haven't done yet. They just wanted to release the whole sea because it was done. Like, it was the worst case scenario, and it turned out to be true. The CIG will 100% force push a ship if they want it to be pushed out, contrary to what CIG has said in the past. And I get it. I'm not one of those people who's gonna sit there and go, well, CIG said 4 years ago in an interview, but 5 minutes. Like, I'm not gonna do that kind of nitpicky detail bullshit. That shit's not helpful in the conversation. But like, at least come out and be like, yeah, we'll pop ships in if we think we're done, if they're done, even if they don't have gameplay. or we'll make some sort of rudimentary gameplay for them. But they won't say that, because then that'll admit that they've changed their mind. Okay, thoughts on CR's post, and does it add hopes for Squadron 2 release soon? All right, I'm gonna be honest. I'm gonna be very real with y'all on this one. Absolutely, 100% leaving it out on here. I'm gonna say something, and then if someone in CIG management is watching, because sometimes they watch these crazy things, it's not a personal thing, okay? I don't give a fuck about what Chris Roberts says. Unless it's a detailed stuff about stuff we don't know about, like server meshing or, or an announcement, I could give two shits what he says. He's not the person who's really important when it comes to Star Citizen. There are 10,999 other people, or no, that's way too many. 10,099 other people who work at CAG who have more hands-on day-to-day experience with Star Citizen's development than Chris Roberts does. So what Chris Roberts said in his post to, why am I blanking on the creator's name? God, why am I blanking on the name? I feel bad. Because they're bigger, they're much bigger. They're the biggest content creator in Star Citizen. Yeah, he's French, but like that's the reason why I don't. Tarada, thank you. I don't interact with the international community as much as I used to. I used to try to do it a lot, but man, is it fucking hard. That language barrier sucks. Like what he said, what he said to Tarada, the only interesting part about it was his going into detail about how the back-end system they were using is absolute dog shit. That was the only thing that I pulled from that. Nothing about Squadron 42 or anything else like that. Pretty much everything else that he said in that conversation was stuff that we already knew about, that they had already talked about in other ways, shapes, or forms. Him saying things like, oh, we're going to get a bunch of stuff from Squadron 42 over to Star Citizen. That is not new. That is stuff that he's been saying since last CitizenCon and before that, since the letter from the chairman last year. It's just reiteration of what he's already said and what people have been saying for a long time. There's a lot of stuff that's like out there. So if anything, it just more reaffirms that the stuff that I've been hearing and seeing is true and not just some ghost manifestation of my insane brain. Like all of you are manifestations of my insane brain, because there's not 50 people or God, almost 100 people willing to watch me, a teacher with a bummed throat, talk about a video game for 4 hours. Especially you, Frank. Yeah, you just stopped and looked at the monitor, didn't you? Because you're watching this after the fact. You're wondering how I knew you were working right now. It's because I'm in your computer, Frank. This isn't a live stream. This is an intervention. Can you please clear out your cache? It's so hard to run these programs with that. I do that every so often, just fuck with people. I said with all due respect. Yeah, CR zero cred. It's not that Chris has no cred. It's just that Chris is not an interesting person to listen to at this stage of the game. He is a charismatic dude, and he has lots of vision. But this is the stage of development where vision is in the back seat and gameplay is in the front. And I can almost guarantee you Chris would agree with me. Because he plays the game. Now, sometimes we like to play alongside you. That's the crazy part. You're all just bots. That's how it works. We already knew we'd have experience 3.18.2 Electric Boogaloo with server meshing. Yeah. So, the general gist is I didn't really pull much away, except for the fact that Chris revealed more information about the problems they were having with 3.18, which seems to be a lot more, like, specific. And that illustrated something to me, which is interesting. The problem that they're having isn't software related. It's hardware related. Something about the services they're using doesn't work. It isn't built to handle the kind of volume they need. Now, that could lead to two problems. One, PES is broken and will never function, and so they're going to have to completely scrap it or scale it down to a smaller scale than they actually have it right now. Both of which are entirely possible. And the second one is, instead of using a, service that they purchase, an off-the-shelf option, they have to build their own back-end data center to make it run. Yeah, Axis, that's intentional. Those are the two realities when it comes to fixing that problem. Sounds like basically the replication layer, the thingy before we get server meshing, isn't robust enough because the GraphDB queries aren't efficient enough and are dragging down everything. Yeah. That's effectively it, though. Sounds like they need a network engineer. Well, that's the thing. It's like I think they were hoping that the service they were using, the data service they were using, would be enough because they paid a lot of money for it. And based off of what Chris has said, they're working with that service pretty intimately right now. So it's likely either they built the it feels fucked up, but I can almost see CIG buying this being like, it's going to work, and then it not working, and then CIG saying, we invested a lot of fucking money to make this work. You better help us make this work. And then being going, you've paid us a lot of money. We don't want to lose that money. We're going to help you make it work. I don't know if it's Amazon. I don't know if they're using the Amazon service. They're using the Amazon service for the game servers, the DGS, but it may not be the services they're using for the storage, for replication layer and stuff like that. Rumors are Amazon, apparently. They practically hired the provider. Yeah, so that's a thing. So that's more information they have been willing to give us before, because Chris has this wonderful ability of opening his mouth and letting stuff fall out that he wasn't supposed to. So now we know more about the information, and it sounds worse. It probably sounds worse than it actually is, because we don't know all the details, but it still gives us a good idea that not all is good in that front. And if that's not good, then they can't do server meshing until that works. Yeah, it sounds like they're getting down to the actual nitty-gritty problems. Mutual circle of fear-induced innovation. It's like mutually assured destruction, but you make things as a result. So, but that was nice. That's nice to hear, because that's one of those things that, like, there was a lot of indication in the postmortem that they've already got server meshing working. internally, they have server meshing working to some degree. And they basically chopped it up into little bits and then are feeding it into the game dev to try to figure out how it could work better and where the problems are. So that side of things doesn't seem to be a problem. It seems to be something about the database, which is the problem. I'm glad it's not a full failure, but a specific issue. Yeah, and it's something like they said they rolled back and it would work fine. So they just got to work through it and figure out what's going on. But that also means that we're going to have a bit of a time delay before server meshing comes out, which means are y'all prepared for Pyro, the road to Pyro again this year? Because if you're not, be prepared. It's going to be bad. CitizenCon is going to be the most frustrating experience, and I would suggest, unless you're there live, do not watch it. Period. Do not watch CitizenCon live, because do not stay up late to watch it. Do not do any of those sorts of things. Just watch it when it goes up on YouTube. It's just going to save you a hell of a lot of pain and suffering. Only watch it if you want to put it in the background while you're working or doing something else. Like, that's pretty much what I'd say. Do not watch it with popcorn and have a watch party. That would be a disaster. My advice to you is to start drinking heavily. I mean, basically, don't drive or operate machinery if you're going to be watching CitizenCon, because it's going to be bad. Yes, Pyro Year 5. It's what's going to happen. Bog, what are you... Bog's messaging me? It's the rebuild road to Pyro. Yeah. I just feel like CIG isn't going to waste money and time on a 2-day conference. They don't have something significant to announce. Oh, I do. I think CIG is, especially Chris Roberts, is all about that flash and that flash over substance. And I don't necessarily think that's necessarily a bad thing. This is going to sound really weird, but like, Wing Commander was a pretty simple game when it came down to it. There were definitely difficulty spikes, and there's definitely a lot of like ways that the game played. But at the end of the day, the reason why Wing Commander got a lot of attention compared to other games in the genre was because it was not afraid to throw as much flash as possible into the game to make it look good, to make it stand out from its competitors. And I think that is what CitizenCon is and has always been. It's this thing that makes Star Citizen stand out compared to other games in terms of like the indie genre. Because as big as Star Citizen is, it's still considered an indie. So no new info. I think we'll get new info at CitizenCon. Almost certainly we'll get new info at CitizenCon. Because there's another thing that was interested. Let me pull this up. So this was posted on... Let me see if I can find it. Doesn't look like it's there. Okay, so maybe it's Star Citizen. Here it is. So, this is the only exception. This is a tweet from Jeff Zanelli, who asks, hey, what's the dress code for CitizenCon 2953? Asking for a friend, or maybe me. Why does this matter? Jeff Zanelli is the composer, not for Star Citizen, but for Squadron 42. This is his music. This is a very early version of his music, by the way. It's like a MIDI almost. The reason why I say that's, I bring that up is because my tinfoil hat, she is secured on my head so that the CIA cannot steal my brain thoughts. Because, I'm telling you, man, ladies, gentlemen, NBs, all of you out there, something fucking fishy as fuck in this bitch, as Shakespeare once said. It's very, very suspicious. Now, Jeff Zanelli lives in LA, so it's not that suspicious, and this is one of his biggest projects. But that's Squadron 42. Jeff, why are you really coming to CitizenCon this year? Let's be real about this. Early version of the music, that was a music that song Luna is actually a leak. It was a kind of like a placeholder version that was leaked, I think 10 years ago, when the full dev build was leaked by accident. I have not heard of him coming to any CitizenCons too. No. He's only really been on 2 live streams, or 2 or 3 videos in the past, in all of Star Citizen's videography. He did a live interview with Jared for a Star Citizen Live, and I think he did a sound or music thing for a special for Squadron 42, and I think he may have showed up in another in around the verse sort of thing. He shows up, but he showed up very early in the project, and that was it. That music, the music you just heard, that's Jeff Zanelli's Squadron 42 theme. Yeah. So when I say it's an early version, that was likely a working version, probably a MIDI or another kind of thing. It wasn't an orchestral version. It was something he put into a basic version to match to visuals and stuff like that for early work. Oh yeah, didn't he have a QVC code? He came in with a QVC, not a QVC. He came in with a no, that was different. I was thinking, my brain worked to Walgreens or CVS, but his QVC sales pitch for the soundtrack on RTV. Yeah, that's what I remember him most from that. We actually went into a deep dive. Someone brought that up to me, which was like, there was a deep dive like a year ago where I went for like a fucking hour talking about the different soundtrack, how Squadron 42 soundtrack is going to be much better than Star Citizen soundtrack. Star Citizen misses motifs. I didn't know the word for it, or I just forgot the word for it at the time, but I say now is that Star Citizen soundtrack, which you're listening to right now, is good, but it's disjointed. It's broken. It doesn't have any unifying DNA. And what the answer is it's missing motifs. Like, combat music needs to be different depending on the enemy you're fighting. So when the sound comes up, instead of this, you hear like a specific soundtrack. You're like, oh, this is the Ninetales. You know, that kind of thing. The Star Citizen intro is great. There's a kind of there's a specific theme which pops up, which is like dum 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 da da dum. That's the Star Citizen theme, and like it's not used enough, I don't think. And I know a lot of I say this as a dumb person who doesn't know audio. Smart people who know audio said, Paul, you're wrong, and I'm like, okay, but am I wrong that the soundtrack isn't very unique? Like, fucking Pedro Camacho is a goddamn genius. That man is just like will light fire to the sky with his music. He's very good at making music. I just think that there's a lack of cohesion throughout the songs. Like, we need more motifs, more light motifs. We need more things that can connect you to the location you're at, rather than just, you know, like, for example, songs or sounds, there should be some similar music for all of Crusader. No matter where you are in Crusader, there should be some familiar like sounds or sort of tracks that play. No, Red Wind is only at Hurston. You have to go to Hurston for Red Wind. Like in Star Wars, I guess so. So, like, specific factions should have their own motifs. Specific locations should have their own motifs, and you should have like a kind of what are they called? An ensemble or something like that. Kind of like you mix those motifs together when they interact. Like, Ninetales should have its own theme. Crusader should have its own theme. And when you have the Siege of Orison mission, those should be like banana and peanut butter, chocolate and peanut butter, you know, that kind of thing. Oh, because I changed it to match Starfield, and I don't know how to change it back, Roy. That's why. I don't know how to change it back. In short, making games is hard. It is. So the kind of the rumor that I'm spreading right now is that if Jeff Sinelli is going to CitizenCon, he was invited, or they were invited to show up. And why would CIG invite Jeff? I mean, maybe they just want to hang out with him. Who knows? But, like, my paranoia is kicking into overdrive. Jeff Sinelli is the lead composer of Squadron 42. Because they like him and he makes great dip. No, like an actual music composer. Like he makes the soundtrack for Squadron 42. He is the composer for Squadron 42 soundtrack. Has written music and continues to write music for Squadron 42. Once again, this. So, all right, I'm gonna respond to that. Well, I got this. There you go, chat. I responded to the Twitter post of Jeff Sinelli asking if he's going to "We will tell you" what the dress code is for CitizenCon. I said, "We will tell you if you promise to bring your famous dip." See, the best part of that song is when the anvils kick in, because in the background you can hear a ting, ting, ting. It's like that industrial music, baby. All right, so that is the. So you're going to CitizenCon. Which bar will you be working? None of them, because I don't have a California liquor license. I mean, they might be inviting him to keep him loyal to the project, or not feel like he's spinning his wheels, or maybe there's progress with Squad 42 that he relates to, or it might be a progress with Squad 42 that it relates to. Yeah, I'm telling you right now that I'm not crazy, all right, and I know I'm not the only one, but I keep saying it like this because I've been burned before by CIG, specifically at a CitizenCon in LA around Squadron 42. So I'm not saying that I'm not saying it's not going to happen. I'm just saying I'm not going to be Perry Platypusing myself by saying, you know, if I got burned about Squadron 42 information at LA CitizenCon, if I got a nickel for every time I got burned about Star Citizen and Squadron 42 information at CitizenCon in LA, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot, but it's weird that it happened twice. I'm not going to do that, all right? You are crazy, but that's besides the point. All right, Black. Just carry burn cream. Squad 42 release date at CitizenCon. So best case scenario, I think that's the case. We're gonna see a announcement of October or winter of 2024 Squadron 42. That's the announcement we'll see, with a new gameplay trailer or some sort of new vertical slice, or both. with some of the cast that shows up. Hey, thank you for that that $10 there, Luna Maria. Just 3 weeks to go. Yeah, I know. Ugh. We don't do when. You're eventually gonna have to, see, Daddy. That's the problem. You're gonna have to do a release date. You can't just release it because you gotta do advertising, and advertising is what you need for release. So it's gonna have to there's going to have to be a date. Now, worst case scenario, in my mind, if they still talk about Squadron 42, would be an announcement that they've entered beta, which we know they've already entered beta in some parts of this, and that they are more willing to start sharing information about Squadron 42. Things like bringing back the... what was it called? The briefing room. Bring back the briefing room. But make it like monthly. Also curious, just because I have 15K burning a hole in my mattress, why is Praetorian not in the store anymore? What? I don't know. Listen, you can laugh at me, Macton, but I think that's still a possibility. Why would, like, they have multiple stages for like their TV room, the room that they do they shoot inside Star Citizen and Star Citizen Live. They have multiple stages. They don't just have one. So if they have multiple stages, I can guarantee you they're shooting or will be shooting briefing room segments. Yeah, I would hope that they, honestly, they're not going to do this, but a big win would be if CIG released the first mission as a demo, because no spoilers, the end of the first mission is very thematic. The way it ends is it's a very, very good end. The way, it's an easy transition for like a demo. It's like, it's done. You have nice kind of like wraps up in a bow. It's a nice little, like, you have a conclusion. It's like its own little mini arc of a story, which is good. It's exactly what you need for a first mission too. It's really well written in that sense and really well paced. That is, again, based off of what I've heard and read and seen, which was many years ago by now, so that could have changed. But and it doesn't have any spoilers for the rest of the story. It's a nice kind of sets the stakes. So and it takes if the, I don't know how long it takes, but if the vertical slice is any indication, it's about an hour, which is a good amount of time to get gameplay feel, to get narrative feel, to get the idea, to get get the taste, just get the little bit of that flavor, and you'd be like, this is good. I like this. I think I'm gonna enjoy this. Let's go for the next episode. Oh, wait, I can't play the next mission. Oh, I have to wait until the full game is released. When is that releasing? Oh, it's this time? You have my attention now. That's what demos are supposed to be. They're supposed to grab your attention and make you go, you want the rest of this. This is just a little bit for free. Enjoy it. You kill the bad guy and go get ice cream social at the mess hall. Exactly. Please tell me we will see Tony Z. He is my belief. I don't know. Well, I do not know if we'll see him or not. I mean, likely, but AG Sharp. Of an actual fucking tutorial? Yeah, because there will be a tutorial in Squadron 42. I mean, the tutorial that exists in Star Citizen is okay. It's not great. It's okay. I think it's better than we've ever had before. I told y'all, I said this would be how this year would went. 320, 321, beta in Evo by Xmas, I win. Beta? Are you talking about 3? Are you talking about 4.0 like Evo? It's not beta. 4.0 is not beta. 4.0 is still alpha. We're not going to see beta until after 4.0. There won't be a 5.0, but you know, because 4.0 is really the last bits, the last major pillars, unless they make the economy its own 5.0 shit, which would be really weird. But I thought I'm still doubting we'll see a 4.0 Evocati release. I think CIG is going to wait on that. They should have concert halls, to be honest, attractions, fairs. I agree. It's not their focus right now, but I 100% agree. They should have museums. They should have fairs. They should have, other attractions, things that are only used for events. I still like the idea of using the convention halls. Right now, they're using them for those buggy races, but I'd still be interested in them using them as like flea markets, where you can walk around and get rare items from specific vendors at flea markets, but they only run on like Sundays. So you have to go to a location on a Sunday, go there and look through there, and you might be able to buy some like rare armor or rare equipment, or get higher prices to sell, because that would get people to log in and like participate in the economy, that kind of stuff. It needs more interesting shit like that. Yes, I'll need to solve this database issue immediately before server meshing. Yeah, which is going to take a while. We talked about that earlier, Slayer. You probably weren't here when we were talking about that. Someone brought up the Chris Roberts thing, and it's like, yep. That's probably the most interesting thing about Chris Roberts is saying, is that their database issue is fucked. And because the database is currently El Fucto, and it's going to be El Fucto for the next couple of months, there's no way they can just turn around and do an Evocati release for 4.0 at the end of this year. I'd give it 6. If Chris Roberts is talking about it now, that means they probably have a good idea of what's wrong, and they're kind of narrowing down on the problem. So 6 to 9 months. Next year. Swap meets in settlements. And bases by Christmas? No. Evo would need probably 3 months of 4.0 testing before it goes out. Yeah, but it's going to be close. We at least know where we are. So many people thought we're years away. I mean, yeah. I mean, I still think we're probably in fall of next year range for release, because I think the way it currently stretches out, and this is for people to understand. Like, I've made calls like this in the past. Like, for instance, I still say, even though I'm probably still going to be wrong, that Theaters of War is going to come out this year. And now, It probably won't. I still think it's going to be a close fit. It'll be a close call, because that was definitely the intent when they were revamping Arena Commanders. They wanted to get Theaters of War into the game, but they first had to revamp Arena Commander. And so now that Arena Commander's been revamped, the next step is getting at least initial testing of Theaters of War back and running. And they've been working on that for a bit. And I called that back in January. And people laughed at me. The reason why I called back in January is because I saw in the monthly reports that they were sneaky as fuck. DJ and the Arena Commander team were these quiet little like mice, these fucking rats in the background, being like ripping shit out and replacing things, and it's like, what the fuck are you doing? What? I was that cat in the snow thing where it's kind of prairie dog and be like, what the fuck they doing over there? That was me all of last year, being like, I see you over there, DJ. I see you. What the fuck are you doing? Because you could see it in the monthly reports, but nothing else. They weren't saying shit. It was just in the monthly reports. And that's the same reason why I'm fairly certain. So I made guesses based off of like, hey, this is probably in a couple of months. And I guessed it based off of what I saw in the monthly reports, and then added some time frames to it based off of like how work cycles work in CIG. And the thing you have to understand about work cycles at CIG is that this is the most productive time in CIG. Between August and November is when everyone is working. People are working overtime. They are busting their ass off. It is go time at CIG. August through November is everyone is fucking tired. Everyone is got 17K, like is probably has enough caffeine in their system to kill a bull elephant, and is just working because A, money. Like, overtime is good because you get more money. B, shit's getting done because you want to release good things. And C, you have the light at the end of the tunnel because you get basically 2 weeks of vacation, 2 to 3 weeks of vacation off at the end of the year. And, you know, CIG has other vacation days as well you can build up. So a lot of people take like December through January and just take that off. And some people don't even come back until February and March. So between January and March is just dead. Nothing happens. And then it kind of builds back up. It's kind of like a mini push towards Invictus. So between March and June, you have a kind of a miniature version of the fall where things kind of pop up, and then June hits, and then everyone takes a break. Everyone, because the kids go on vacation, so they take a couple of weeks off in the summer, and people take bits and parts here, and you know, maybe they travel to some of the other studios to get training or to work with people or to talk with their counterparts. That kind of stuff happens, and then it gets picked back up in July. It goes into August, and then boom, stream rush through. So there's really only 2 productive periods at CIG that are visibly productive to us, and that is March through June and August through November. Really more like September through November. So about 6 months out of the year. So unless you release something in those times, unless you have something that matches up with those times, it will slip. So when I say server meshing is likely going to be in the fall, I mean that it is right now, based off of where I think it is, it's in this weird zone where it probably could release sometime around June, but it's not going to release around June because there's no way they're going to do an Invictus release with 4.0 because that would be a disaster. So they'll push it. And if they push it beyond June, there's no way it goes into the fall patch, it goes into the summer patch, it goes into the fall patch. So CitizenCon 2024. Yeah, they wouldn't do it 4.0, especially after they did that post-mortem with like, we'd need more testing. They would not do that. So I would say just based off of timing alone and resource allocation, I wouldn't expect server meshing until this time next year. All right, Luna. Predictions for EVA 2.0 or new star map? I think 322. or 4.0, one of the two. Hey Naz, how you doing? See, Daddy, was I wrong? In any of my indications, am I wrong? Because I've been following this game long enough and have seen so many of my friends work for CIG, I can see the patterns in their behavior and understand how that works. June is great. June and like October, November are fantastic because you get all your shit done and you can sit back and watch people enjoy it. And you're like, I'm so fucking hyped and high about all of the shit I did. And then a week later, you're sleeping for 4 days straight because you crash and you're just like, I'm tired now. Beds are good things. They don't need to, you don't need to fundraise their snacks, caffeine, and melatonin. They get that. Like, CIG's really good with that. They'll just send random shit out. They'll like, it'll be like, you know, September 12th, and suddenly like all 1,000 employees at CIG get a care package with like a thing of nice coffee and t-shirts and hoodies and like little plushies and a card signed by Chris Roberts, being like, hey, I appreciate you. You're doing really good. You know, that kind of thing. It's like, oh, nice. It's nice. Hey, Paul, how you doing? You did talk Squadron 42 already? I did, but I'm going to bring it up again. So the rumor is this. I'm starting it right now. So if you hear this rumor pop up on leaks, it came from me. Someone either confirmed it or denied it. I don't know. But Jeff Sinelli. So who is Jeff Sinelli, and why do we care that he asks, what's the dress code for CitizenCon 2029-53? Asking for a friend or maybe me. The answer is Jeff Sinelli is the lead composer for Squadron 42. An Emmy-winning composer, by the way. I'm looking at his size in the thing now. He composed for Pirates of the Caribbean, for the Pacific, Into the West, The First Lady, Maleficent, and Christopher Robin. So. Now, why would the lead composer of Squadron 42 be coming to CitizenCon? Now, he does live in LA, so it's a little bit easier. But, awful strange to make that announcement like that, Jeff. Maybe he's just a Star Citizen fan, Paul. Maybe. Or maybe it falls into a pattern of behavior that CIG has been doing, like saying things like the forbidden word beta in their monthly reports about Squadron 42. And what the fuck is post-alpha, CIG? Plus a lot of other things like reshoots where you bring in big-name actors to come in and reshoot scenes. All of the things that have been indicating that Squadron 42 is in a very complete state. The rumor is this, and I'm starting it right now. Yes, it is. I am 100. This is 100%. Like, Paul is you know, drank some Dayquil and G Fuel and is going to start rumors night. That's what it is. Lord Daddy is high on cold meds and starting rumors. He's probably thinking, I'm going on stage. Why would Jeff Zanelli be going on stage? Chat, please give me a reason other than he's going to talk about Squadron 42. Your answers ask more questions. Chat decided that they invited him because his dip is fantastic. So We decided to ask Jeff Sinelli to bring his world famous dip. Cool thing about Jeff is that he's been interviewed on StarCitizen Live once. He's a very charismatic dude. If I get a chance to meet him at CitizenCon, I'll talk with him and be like, I like you. You are funny. And I like your music. It's very good. He's actually worked under Hans Zimmer. So he's a protege of Hans Zimmer. I do enjoy a good dip. I just tuned in. What have I missed? I'm starting rumors about Squadron 42 being announced at CitizenCon, and we talked about Chris Roberts' announcement or discussion with oh god, I had his name, then I forgot it again. Tirada. That's what it is. Tirada. Is this dip more spicy or mild? That's a good question. We'll have to ask. I hope it's an aspect. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of other factors. Just because the composer of Squadron 42 is showing up isn't the main reason why I'm like, Squadron 42 is being announced at CitizenCon. There's like 1,000 different things that have gone on since December of last year that have kind of heavily hinted that CIG is driving towards completion with Squadron. So. Thank you, Genos. Yeah, Tirada. We talked about that and how probably the most important thing to take away from the Tirada discussion with Chris Roberts is that the back end is fucked, which isn't news, but now we know specifically how fucked, which is something we haven't known before. We knew it was fucked, and now we know it's fucked. Like, they are in, like, repair mode, like, trying to analyze and figure out what's going on and why, because, like, things they're doing is working, but sometimes it's not. But the fact that Chris Roberts is talking the way he is means that they know what's wrong. They know what's fucked, specifically, and so they're in, like, okay, let's figure out how to unfuck this situation. Hans Zimmerman, not Hans Zimmer. Right, yeah, my bad. Fishy, don't blame me. Blame the Dayquil. All right? All right, I'll be right back. I do wonder if... Do you think Hans Zimmer... Because I don't think Hans Zimmerman is his actual name. Do you think he took his name from the bad guy of Die Hard? Or maybe Die Hard took their name from Hans Zimmerman? We haven't watched ISC yet. Now I'm gonna go get some water, use the restroom. When I come back, you'll be able to do that. So I'm gonna run an ad real quick while y'all doing this. So be right back. Always blame the Dayquil. I will abuse that privilege.
Good news, everyone. Weapons free, y'all.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Drugs.
Two words. Distress bacon.
Shit, I'm out.
Good news, everyone.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw. Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Good news, everyone.
Weapons free, y'all.
Good news, everyone.
Casitas wares, if you have coin.
I'm flying. I'm pilot.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
2 words.
Good
Distress
news,
bacon.
everyone.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Two words.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Drugs. Drugs.
Good news, everyone.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Weapons free, y'all.
Casitas wares, if you have coin.
Drugs.
Two words. Distress bacon.
Casitas wares, if you have coin.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession. Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Barcelona!
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Drugs.
Hello, I like money.
Bounty hunting is a complicated profession.
Cajitas wares, if you have coin.
Weapons free, y'all.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Everybody and his dog calls himself an outlaw.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
Drugs.
Weapons free, y'all.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
I like money.
All right, enough of the belt of lotus.
Cajitas wares, if you have coin.
Enough of the belt of lotus.
2 months.
I can hear it. Pulled up my own stream.
Good news, everyone.
I'm just an old-fashioned cowboy.
Stop it. Sorry, I had to use the restroom and get some water. Ugh. The end is beholding us down, chatters. That brings me to the point that there is a equivalent of the Beltalota, of the Belters, in Star Citizen. And we're going to have them after Pyro, which is Nyx. Nyx are revolutionary Belters. They do not live on planets, they live on a planetoid, which is Daymar. Not Daymar, Delmar. 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 And let's at Levski. That's Delmar is basically like Ceres. It's a planetoid. Delmar. A series of what? Don't do that, Eris. Don't do that. All right, let's watch the ISC. It's a pretty short one, but I think it's a pretty good one. Quite honestly.
Missions in video games are more than just a way to tell a story or give a player things to do. They're also a way to drive players to explore areas they might otherwise miss, to encounter aspects of gameplay they might otherwise not attempt. And for developers, they're often a way to push the development of new features, or in the parlance of the mission feature team, new verbs for their systemic mission design system. And one new mission or global event from MFT can lead to 10 others being created by designers on sandbox teams around the world. So on today's show, we're exploring 2 currently being developed, starting with Data Heist.
All right, so this one, I think a lot of people emphasize the data and not the heist. So keep that in mind. This is a heist with data, not a data that you are heisting.
So Data Heist is a brand new mission coming to the Star Citizen persistent universe. It will be one of the first missions from the organization of Bit Zero. Bit Zero are an organization of hackers. They're kind of rich kids that have
Netrunners, fucking netrunners.
kind of taken on the hobby of hacking and trying to almost being Robin Hood. They want to do things, but again, they're a bunch of rich kids. They don't know, ripping off a merchant for such amount of money is even a big thing for that merchant.
So the player will take the mission, head to the location. In this case, we are using the UGFs. Once you're inside the facility, you'll have to gain access to the mainframe.
Now you can do that in multiple ways. We have hacking still in the PU, where you can use a crypto key. And there's also other methods that might be at the location that will help you access those mainframes, but I'll leave that for you to find.
Once you've hacked into there, you then have to allow the hacker into the system. And then from that point on, he will do all of the heavy lifting with the uploading of the data from the servers. But what you have to do is maintain the safety of those servers so that their upload can actually follow through.
We will then start to give you a couple of enemies populating the area because they're responding to, your invasion of their property.
They'll come in and you'll fight them. At the same time, there's going to be the owners of those servers. Although they're not on site, they actually have the ability to...
Workers of Hurston unite. The only thing you have to lose is your chains. Down with the Hurstons.
To remote into their systems, and they're probably not very happy with the idea that you're trying to steal their data.
During the mission, you will find that some of these servers will start to overheat. Now that's because the people that own the location are deciding, we can't kick out this hacker from the location, but we can try and either halt you or, stop you from getting the data.
They turn off the cooling on these servers. And so when the cooling's turned off, they're basically trying to melt down their servers, destroy the data. So they'd rather have a scenario where they destroy their data than let you have it.
You then have to look around the area, try and solve why they're overheating, and if you can try and stop that. That will be one of the big situations during this mission.
It basically just continues like that. You have a certain amount that you're supposed to have uploaded, and you need to defend them, and then you have to turn them back on, and it just continues like this until you either succeed or you fail.
Data Heist is a mission for morally grey people. I wouldn't ever say that it was for the good or the bad.
Shirt.
In its first
and he's got an
implementation,
N7
you will be infiltrating
based
security locations, security UGFs. So at this point in time, it is unlawful.
It's a defend a thing mission, but we're adding some more interesting lore and complexity to this mission, where it's not just defend.
Listen, I need to get into this system. So a bunch of trust fund kiddies. I need to get into this system. Can you help me out? Sure. Loads up on super heavy tactical armor, walks around with 2 LMGs, and murders everyone. God bless America. This is the most American approach to hacking I have ever seen. I love it.
Something from taking damage, we're adding this extra layer of gameplay for a player. It's how they can be destroyed. It's adding extra layers. So it's not just a physical destruction, it's also this
gray area
of the
murdering multiple police officers while hacking into a server, gray area.
Data on this server being destroyed, so we wanted to take these two things and have them in one.
My favorite thing about the mission is possibly the things that it could open doorways for. The fact that it's the first mission for the Bit Zero is super exciting for me. I'm a fan of other video games that involve hacking, and having an entire organization revolve around hacking is super exciting for me.
The mission feature team's role isn't just to make new missions, it's also to make the tools that content teams will take on and give new life to.
One such way in Data Heist, for example, is a module that's focusing on randomization. They will target a random server in the room just to get you moving around the UGF so that it keeps you on your toes during the mission. But this can be utilized by other designers for powering anything to do with randomization as well. So instead of always seeing the spawns from the spawn closets being at the same time, 5 minutes in or anything like that, you could be kept on your toes.
And with a mission like Data Heist, that gives us several new tools in the toolbox.
And in addition to the standard missions,
So before we get into this part, I do want to talk about this a little bit. The one thing I saw people saying, like, this seems weird because there's no counter mission. It doesn't feel very Data, because I was thinking, like, they're thinking, oh, Data, so like data running. It's like, no, this is a heist mission. And the one thing that stood out to me almost instantly was, this is Star Citizen's take on Payday. This is a Payday mission. Because for those of you who haven't played Payday, Payday is effectively, you're going in to steal items, and there are some sub items you can steal as well. But there's a process to which you need to steal those items. You need to like drill an area somewhere here, drop thermite somewhere. Like there's blow up an area, a thing with a specific amount of explosives. There are steps that you need to complete, and while you're doing that, you're being harassed by NPCs. So the name of the game is to manage your ammo consumption, so you're not running out of ammo, while doing all these other steps and trying to do them without, causing as much problem. Trying to do as simple as possible. So this is a Brett Spiner mission, not a Data mission. This is a lore mission, not a Data mission. It just needs more stealth options, and it'll be hella Payday. Exactly. So this is just like tier 0 Payday, is what it is. It's Data, not Data. Uwu, yes. Uwu. This is for the Uwu. This is a lore mission, not a Data mission. Yeah, this is how lore would do things, not Data. So yeah, effectively, that's what this is. And it seems like they're taking some inspiration from that, where like random things go wrong and you have to go deal with it. Now, the only problem with this is that the AI are dookie. They're poopy. The AI are very bad. So, you're going to send waves after waves of AI at these people. Dear God in heaven, your fucking crime stat is going to be just dog shit. So unless there's a way to mitigate crime stats by like turning off the satellite before you do it or something like that, that's a lot of dead cops. That's a lot of dead cops. That is FBI's most wanted levels of dead cops that you're going to do for that mission. Y'all, but y'all get the idea, right? So like that the key for this mission, and the thing is that the name of this mission is make players deal with random situations. So you have to think on your feet. And while you're doing that, you're being shot at. So you have to manage your ammo, manage your time, work together, and stay on alert for a bunch of stuff. So it's a great combination of very simple mechanics that can be combined into many different ways to make interesting gameplay. So. AI have been getting better. They have been getting better, but they're still garbage. So, like, I think tier 0, unless they significantly improve the AI, the tier 0 of this mission will basically be you're running out of bullets. It's fucking horde mechanics against you, where like you eventually run out of bullets.
Populate the verse. The mission feature team is always examining and reevaluating the global events that.
That being said, they almost certainly are going to do this against Hurston. Why it's a gray mission is because you're killing Hurston security, which is debatable if that's a crime. It is Hurston. Fuck the Hurstons. Yeah, based.
Run throughout the year. Do they perform the way we intend they should? Not just in frame rate, but also in engagement, enjoyment, enchantment, entertainment. And if they're not, perhaps they need enhancement or extinguishment. And the new global event Blockade Runner hopes to be just a little bit of both.
Blockade Runner actually replaces Ninetales Lockdown.
Thank God, fuck the Ninetales Lockdown. It was the worst fucking mission. I don't care if any of you agree or not, because all of you are tainted by the 318 run. So you're like, you hear Xenothreat and you're like, it's terrible. It's like, Xenothreat was the best fucking thing they've ever made. Next to Jumptown. And then you also think y'all also hate Jumptown now. But those are the best missions. That's the reason why they kept running them, because they're the best events. Ninetales Lockdown, they ran very sparingly, and whenever they did, nobody did it because it was broken. It sucked. So, are you saying you have no taste? I'm saying you've been tainted. Your taste has been tainted by the foulness of 318.
Analyzed Ninetales Lockdown, and we looked at participation in that global event, and we also looked at what players.
Siege of Orison is slightly better than Ninetales Lockdown. Siege of Orison's problem is not that Siege of Orison is bad, it's that they need to pace it better, A, and B, the AI needs to not be garbage. If they can fix those two problems, which they're working on, it would be much better.
Did in it. So participation in Ninetales Lockdown wasn't actually that high. We realized there's no point maintaining this global event if no one plays it, you know? We looked back at the other ones that we had made, like Xenothreat, and looked at the gameplay in those that players do engage with and they enjoy. And that was the aspect of going on those wrecks in Xenothreat, picking up the crates and delivering them. They enjoy this experience, they enjoy working together as a team to do it. So we thought, what can we do with that and make a new event? Something that players will instantly understand what the event's about. We came up with this idea of Blockade Runner.
Blockade Runner is a new global event that we've been working on. In this event, there's a criminal faction that sets a blockade around some of the space stations in the universe. This makes trade and travel between these stations problematic, and their goal in doing this is to prevent the trade of one specific material that is important for the refinement of spaceship fuel.
The idea is that a player will be called to help deliver a new commodity that is involved in the production of quantum fuel and deliver it from our LEO stations, like Everest Harbor, to its refinery sister stations. And we have to deliver a certain amount of this within a certain narrow amount of time.
This material has a short half-life, so if it's not stored properly at a specific facility, then it will expire and become worthless, and you'll have to try again.
When you arrive at the LEO, there'll be a blockade from criminals, and you will have to get through that blockade, land, buy this commodity as much as you can fit on your ship, then you'll have to take off, and then you'll have to brave the blockade again, and then QT to one of the refineries. On the way, you may be interdicted by more of these criminals who don't want you to get away.
Target destroyed.
And then on the other side, no blockade, but you'll have to get through that. Then you will land, and then you will sell. So there's this delivery loop for players. Not every ship will be best suited for dealing with these guys without, some escorts. So the idea is that players will also take this mission and support those other players in combat ships.
Maybe you delegate one person with the big tanker ship and others to fend off any enemies along the way. At its core, Blockade Runner is a combination of the cargo transport and selling and space combat. One of the things...
So I heard some people say this isn't PvP. And the answer is, yeah, it is. It's basically a commodity. It's Jump Town. This is Jump Town. Except for it's legal. What is Jump Town? You go to an area, you collect a resource, you go to another area, and you sell it. Only this time, it's the original Jump Town where you actually have to buy the fucking thing. So you actually have to buy the resource and then go to an area and sell it for a limited time. And all along the way, you're going to be attacked by except for this time, there's NPCs who are attacking you as well. But that doesn't mean that players can't attack you and also take your shit and then sell it. So, yeah, there's definitely PvP options in here. And, if I was a PvP clan, I would 100% offer my services to people doing this stuff because I know other people would show up to fuck with these guys and I'll be able to take them down. It's just JT in space, yeah.
Things I like most about Star Citizen is the space combat. I've never really been much of an FPS player, but I do like space combat, and one of the big elements of Blockade Runner is space combat. The stakes are higher, so if you screw up, you don't just simply regenerate. You regenerate and have to buy all your cargo again, so watch out for that. As the dev, I've been playing this entirely by myself up till now. We're going to be going through some playtests soon, so we'll be able to experience the mission properly, but thus far I've been playing it solo with a ship that can both fight and transport.
What ship are you?
The Cutlass Black. It's the best ship for everything.
Yes! I don't care what you're saying, visual team. He's right. Don't boo, he's right. Drake's supremacy, bitches.
So, what did we learn this week? Well, we learned that missions like Data Heist don't just give players more ways to play, they also give mission designers more tools to play with. That, like every other aspect of Star Citizen, global events are continuously evaluated and refined and occasionally rebuilt and replaced when needed. And that Blockade Runner is just that, meant to replace the former Ninetales lockdown before the end of this year. Now, don't forget that there's just 3 weeks until CitizenCon 2953, the now 2-day event emanating from the Los Angeles Convention Center, where you'll get the biggest concentration of Star Citizen info, technology, features, visuals, and more, all beamed into your brains via Twitch. Or if you're there in person, by just following Mark Gibson around all day and asking about his Hercules voice. I can still hear it when I look at the C1. For Inside Star Citizen, I'm Jared Huckabee. Thank you for letting us share the process of game development with you, and we'll see you all here next week.
All right. We're going to watch the end of it because I know there's an outro to it. But somebody, I think it was Luna, who said they wanted to hear my thoughts on this. Basically, and I know people are like, well, you should be able to join the criminal faction. No, you just become the criminal faction. Because all you have to do is intercept them on their way. You know where the refinery point is going to be. So you know where the buy and the sell point is. Just pick a spot between the two and set up a fucking mantis, or was it Cuddy Blue? Like you set up a QT jammer. And they get ripped out and suddenly it's like, hey, bitches, give us everything you have or we're going to kill you. Or just attack them. You just become the threat. And there's nothing against that in that whole thing because it's entirely freeform. It's Jump Town with NPCs. That's all it is. I feel like people thinking criminals are all allied together when it's really more of a free-for-all. Yeah. nothing that's stopping you from participating in killing criminals either. So if you just want to beat up on some NPCs and get some sweet what was it called? The mission where you get credits for killing outlaws. Call to Arms, the Call to Arms mission. Just get some sweet Call to Arms money. You're good. It sounds great. It's just a nice little semi, and I think this is actually more repeatable because you can turn this make it illegal. You can make this an illegal version. There's nothing wrong with that. Yeah, you could turn this and you could use this. You could change the product from being Quantanium to being medical supplies or refugees or other aspects. There's so many other options you could use with this. This is just a framework, and this is probably the first emergent gameplay event that is repeatable. You could do this in any of the systems easily. Whereas Siege of Orison is really bespoke. I guess Jumptown is kind of the same. You can do the same thing with Jumptown, but Ninetales is also very bespoke. There's the elements you could take from it, but not you couldn't just plop Ninetales anywhere. So. That pays jack shit though. 500 UEC per kill. There's probably a lot of things to kill, to be honest. And it's not 500 UEC. I think it's 500 to 5,000 UEC.
So far, yeah. Like I said, I'm a big fan of the space combat, so that element works pretty well for me. Buying and selling cargo is fine too. Cut that part.
Oh, he truly is a Drake fan. Based Drake supporter. least bloodthirsty Drake supporter. The concept could work there, 89, but the thing about Siege of Orison is that it's so bespoke with different locations, different actions, plus the little NPC dialogue that you probably wouldn't use it a lot. And that's the reason why whenever they say oh, this is a dynamic mission, I'm how the fuck is this gonna spawn in Terra? That doesn't make any sense. When's my 12 hours streamathon? It's going to be Sunday. So a couple things are going to happen. Saturday, we're going to be streaming early because one of the guests can't make it for the regular time. So we're going to be starting at noon Central. So that's 1 p.m. Eastern. And we'll be going from 1 p.m. Eastern till probably 3 or 4 p.m. Probably 4 p.m. Eastern or 5 p.m. Eastern, somewhere around that. Well, it's usually about 3 hours. So yeah, about 3 p.m. Eastern. So, or 4 p.m. Eastern, yeah. Astro, is 320 better and enjoyable yet? It is. I played it on Sunday and didn't have a single 30K. It was quite fun. We played for 3 hours. And the AC is pretty fun too. Thank you for gifting that sub to Shinobi there, Silky. And thank you, Town Scott, for that 3 months of support. Thank you for giving that shout out to Loken. I got the word from from fat fish, from skinny fish, from obese fish, that they're going to release the new character updates for character progression for Darktide. So we might do that again. We also have to do Void Crew together. That's fun. Yes, obese. Some people were calling it obese fish or something like that when I first started saying Darktide, and I like that. It's Fat Shark, yeah, the company who makes Darktide. What else is up there? Void Crew, Fat Shark. I want to know more about Space Marine 2, their like game companies and Games Workshop. When the fuck is that coming out? Because they've been making overtures that it's like going to come out this year, but you think they'd have made the announcement date if it was coming out this year? It's next year? Did they do a full date yet? It still says 2023, but yeah, because when Space Marine 2 comes out, I'm taking the day off. And I'm kidnapping Loken. And we're doing co-op. That's just the rule. I'll have to buy something for a voice changer, so we can do the full Space Marine voice for the entire time. And make a bunch of brother jokes. Brother, I am pinned here. Also, Loken, it should the surprise the thing I told you about should be your way this tomorrow. Tomorrow I'm gonna send it out for you, so you'll get it. You should have that thing in a week or so. And for those who don't know, I have Titus, Lieutenant Titus. Titus, right? Yes. Forget his name, but the model. So start up Space Hulk Hogan, Space Marine, the cream of the crop, brother. You'll always be a captain in my heart. Yes. I wish I could play Tyranids in Space Marine 2. Let me eat the biomass. Hey, overall goes, thanks for that subscription. You are a very important pupper, very impressive Mr. Vanity pedestrian. You rock. Shots and cheers in chat. We got a level 1 hype train going on. That's pretty cool. The whole sea is the most complicated object in gaming. It's a bit optimistic to think it's going to work perfect after 1 week. After 1 week in the PU, it's a bit of a bold statement. I want a RPG Warhammer game where you could play it as any faction. There's a couple that are out there. Tabletop RPG, or are you talking about like an RPG, like a RPG game? At this point, I expect Squadron 42 before server meshing. I almost agree, but I don't think Squadron 42 is coming out. I think they're planning on it coming out next year. I don't think it's going to come out next year. I've said this for many many a time that I think whatever CIG announces Squadron 42's date's going to be for release, it will be 6 months after that. The reason why it'll be 6 months after that is because I think CIG, and this is nothing to do with CIG. Like, this is not a CIG has bad date syndrome. This is a AAA game titles have bad game date syndrome. There's not been a single large scale AAA title game, or even in some case like moderately big, indie game, which have hit their initial release dates. They always get delayed, and those that have hit the release dates are god awful and require multiple patches before they get it. In some cases, they delay, still are god awful, and still need a year or so to patch. I haven't watched the new Castlevania Nocturne series. It looks good though. Thanks for all your great content. Really enjoy your Star Citizen Starfield stuff. Well, thank you for watching those. Because hold on to your butts, ladies and gentlemen. I am also announcing that I'm going to do Titanfall lore. This is not going to be a regular thing. It's going to be maybe a once a month thing, maybe a little bit more. I'm gonna be sticking with my Star Citizen stuff, though a lot of people really like my ships and they like my complete history of Star Citizen lore, which I'll do both of those. But I'll be doing more Starfield content, big stuff first and little stuff as people start to finish up the game. And then I'll be doing Titanfall. Because goddamn does Titanfall have a deep universe. Holy Jesus fuck is it a deep universe. Will we see Titanfall gameplay? That's what I was about to say. I'm going to play some Titanfall tomorrow. So if y'all want to hang out and do some Titanfall co-op, what is it, the defense mode, because I think they brought the servers back online. So oh my god, unsub canceled. I'm out. Titanfall is a bridge too far. I have never, ever been shy about my love for Titanfall. It is, Titanfall 2 in my mind is the best single player shooter game of the 2010s. It has the best single player campaign of any shooter in 2010, between 2010 and 2020. And I will fight anyone who says otherwise. It is so well paced. It is so well done. It is a master, it's a master class in how to write a single player shooting campaign. It is so good. I don't know if there's a new BattleTech. There's a MechWarrior 5 expansion, and I think they're talking about a MechWarrior 6 possibly. So, and I will be doing MechWarrior as well, but I'm gonna wait until the MechWarrior 5 expansion, the Clans expansion, comes out. Yeah, it was just announced. We don't know when it's going to release. What's better, Battle or Mech? It's the same universe. BattleTech is an isometric RPG, and MechWarrior is a first-person shooter. Mech shooter, but shooter. Are you worried about clashing with other BattleTech lore channels? No, I'm going to talk with, I'm going to reach out to Tex and ask him to co-star in it. Literally. I'm going to go, hey Tex, can you drunkenly say something on my, or smoothly say something with your buttery voice on one of my things? Let me do it this way. You all know I'm a firm believer in a rising tide floats all ships. When I say, if you are interested in doing Star Citizen lore videos, fucking do it. I don't mean that as a threat. I mean that as I will fucking co-star. I will collaborate with you. because more people watching videos that deal with lore of a game that I play, or I'm enjoying, or I'm in, means that more views are going to it. Because I know you people, because you people are me, because we are the same brain in this sort of situation. And I know that I'm subscribed to multiple lore channels for Fallout, Elder Scrolls, Warhammer, Mech Warrior, Star Wars, and I watch five same topic from 5 different YouTubers. I watch all of them back to fucking back. Because they all have different takes and interesting things, and it's interesting to hear all of their stories, even if there's the same information. Because I know you people do the same thing. I know that it works, and I know that's what it works. More volume of people watching more videos means YouTube is going to promote it more because there's more people making videos, which to YouTube means there's more content being, there's more interest in that content, so it promotes it more. It's a circular logic, but it's effectively a rising tide floats all ships. So if more people do Mech Warrior lore, more people will be recommended Mech Warrior lore. So Tex will have a Black Pants Legion, and Tex will have an increase in views because other people are doing lore. And it's YouTube. Just because you watch an hour and a half long Tex video doesn't mean you can't watch mine. Yeah, YouTube chat, chill. All of y'all chill. Uncanny, chill, buddy. And Luna, chill. Just chill. Everyone just chill. Drop the topic, move on. Paul, would you estimate, circumstances not dates, that CIG will get back to correcting ship name issues and begin letting us name more ship types? Oh, when? Post 4.0. Once they have static server meshing in, a lot of those minor details will be things that they deal with, so. Uncanny. Just chill, buddy. Let's just stop having circular fights on internet fights. No more internet fights. Please, I have enough of those already. So, for those of you who don't know, I will be going to CitizenCon, and I will be participating in some events at CitizenCon. And I may, and this is a big emphasis, may have access to a meetup area. So if you are interested in doing a meetup at CitizenCon, if you're going to CitizenCon, let me know, and I'll try to let y'all know where I'm going to be. And I say that because apparently there are like 4,000 people going to CitizenCon these years right now, so it's like, what? Yeah, well, apparently there was, I think, 1,900 people at the last CitizenCon, which was the biggest CitizenCon they'd have, and who was it? Xylo made an announcement that it was like, it's already doubled that. It's like, what? What? It'll be pretty fun. It's a huge hall. The hall they're using for CitizenCon is it's one of the bigger halls for the LA Convention Center. If you've been to a convention before, like a PAX or something like that, it's like one of those halls. Then the PAX South, it's like that convention center floor. Then at PAX East, it's like that convention center floor. It's fucking huge. So 4,000 people in that space is not going to, it's going to seem, it's not going to be as many as you think. So. Question, can we make a list of questions to ask at CitizenCon? I'm not sure all of them could be answered. Yeah, we could do, I can make a list somewhere. I'll post it somewhere. We'll probably on my Discord. If you want to ask a question, join the Discord, and I'll put up a channel for you to ask questions that I can try to go and ask people if I want to, if I can. So. 4,000. Is there enough hopium reserves for that many people? I think the entire national stock of hopium is going to be there. Jake, I have a very serious question. When is pizza getting added to the game? Very serious. This will determine if 1 million people buy this game or not. We need multiple bytes. Actor status T2. Okay. Thank you. I can't tell if you're memeing or not. Well, also let us have noodles. Nudes are good. You're not for once. Yes. X1 pizza delivery skin. Let's go. There's a pizza restaurant right in the main area of Seraphim Station. Yeah. You do not want a Xi'an pizza. Nobody wants a fucking Xi'an pizza. At best, it's going to be like having kimchi pizza. I'm so stoked for South California. I'm there for a week and a half to work and then a week to chill with some homies. Nice. Yeah, I was going to take some time off, but I'm like, I need to save up bank up some time off for some other stuff. So. But I was able to work out some stuff with some folks, so it should be pretty good. Question, not a question, more of a statement. There's a pizza place at Seraphim Station. You can only buy drinks there and no food. It's right by the terminal. I know. It's actually not the only pizza place that exists in the game. If you go to a lot of the food courts, many of the food courts do have pizza places in them, which are the exact same copy-pasted pizza places as the one that's in Seraphim. You can buy, I want to say it's like the Gatorade sort of thing, the Powerade Gatorade version. It's kind of like it boosts your metabolism or boosts your hydration a little bit. So. So Jake, how many hours of sleep are you running on right now? I imagine it's single digits. It's probably less than 5. Very few. Very, very few. I was talking about how the way that I tend to estimate times for CIG releases comes from my knowledge that that y'all have 2 major push times, which is March to June and like August/September to about November. And those times are when almost everything visible to us as players gets really pushed into the game. And then between December and March and between July and August, September is like kind of a downtime for y'all to sleep. And so in those 6 months out of the year, it's like there's more caffeine consumed by your typical CIG employee than there is. It's like a GDP of a small country would be the cost of the amount of caffeine purchased by CIG employees at those times. And then right afterwards, it's just like, we did it, die. Like, sleep. This is my bed. I am done for the next couple of months. Yeah, or you could be Yogi. Yogi's just insane. Though the Atmo folks have made my job pretty easy. I continue. I say this and I will continue to say this. Atmo Esports is one of the best organizations in Star Citizen. They stuck around. They started up as just kind of an idea, and they've stuck around to become one of the most well-organized groups that I've ever seen in the Star Citizen universe. And the best part about it is they just don't give a fuck. They're not like, oh, we're a great clan. They're just like, we need help. This is on fire. Come help us. And it's never been like a shit fest, which is great. Your team lead for the Atmo booths? Oh, so I have to talk with you a bunch, is what you're telling me. All right. I assume that's not a secret. So they didn't have to sign an NDA until now. So. They do want to do an FPS tournament. The thing is that there needs to be more, like Atmo, or there needs to be like a Star Marine. Star Marine needs to kind of get fleshed out a little bit more, which is the next step in the Arena Commanders process. Sorry, I'm sorry for asking, but did I miss you watching Icy? Yes, it's a pretty good one. It's actually pretty jam-packed. I don't know, but they are selling stuff. CIG has confirmed that there will be merch at the booths that's unique. They didn't do that when last time I went in 2018. There wasn't any unique merch being sold. Now there is. Go watch it. It's good. It's only 10 minutes, so it's pretty good. Blockade Runner. So my general interpretation of this, and y'all can like take this or leave this at this one, is that data heist. A lot of people heard the word data heist and emphasized the data rather than the heist. And when I saw them talk about data heist, my thought was, this is just Star Citizen's version of Payday. That's all this is. And I still believe that with a couple of tweaks here and there, a couple of additions, and some improvements to AI, it probably will be Star Citizen Payday. I'm entirely okay with this. Yeah, that's fine. As long as I have some stealth options in the future, and I can go troll a guard. Data heist is not, no, it's not data running. It's a heist mission that involves data. I think just people got the idea of what data heist might be out of proportion. And Blockade Runner is probably the most, next to Jump Town, I think it's the most flexible event that CIG's ever made. Because I could see that mission, that event, that exact same event happening in any system in the game. I know we only have one system. Do your little meme thing. What I'm saying is that as the game expands, I could see Blockade Runner happening everywhere. You could have it in Terra, you could have it in Earth, you could have it in Castra. It doesn't matter what system it is, you could have a Blockade Runner mission. And it doesn't have to be Quantanium. They can just swap out the material for medical supplies, illegal contents, or even refugees. It's not that difficult. Blockade Runner in Vega. Oh, that's hard mode. You like watching your fiance play Payday? It's a pretty fun game to play. The secret with Payday is that Payday, you pretty much overwhelm every NPC you come against. Like, NPCs are not a challenge in Payday. The challenge of Payday is that as you go further, like the longer you play when you're going loud, the more difficult NPCs spawn and the less ammo you have. Thus, it's about managing your ammo and your health. That's all that Payday's about. At its very core, it's just an ammo and health conservation while achieving objectives. And that's what Data Heist is. Like, you're gonna run out of ammo long before that mission is over. So bring a lot of ammo. Yeah, the Bandul don't do blockades. They'll just kill you. That's why it's hard mode. You should be able to, but Mick, here's the secret. More guards will be on the way. So you will have a limited time between looting guards, stopping the servers from melting down by running around trying to prevent them from melting down, and dealing with the hack all at the same time. So you're going to get down to people are going to have to figure out how to pile in bodies, you'll have to have like a dedicated looter who's just piling bodies and pulling ammo and guns off of them and tossing them into a corner. Yeah, the net kitty. You're like the whole. I imagine there's going to be some level of once they're in, you're like to that point. There's going to probably be some state where you're going to have to hit a button here, hit a button there, help them out, while also and then the next stage is whole like the Hurston security is trying to melt down their servers and that kind of stuff. So. Oh, thank you, Jake. I didn't think you sent one before. Done. I do like the Donald Duck with a gun. That is amazing. An awesome future for Blockade Runner would be a single point in one system has a crisis emergency that needs specific resources or equipment, like specifically formulated medicine or specialized chemical concoctions, only available at 2 or 3 locations, all multiple jumps away. Exactly. You could do that. And like I said, you could do refugees where there's a situation going on, you show up at a location, you have to load refugees onto your transport, and then pirates show up to take advantage of the chaos and attack you, so you have to leave. So they show up to attack you, and then they show up again at the rendezvous point. So, you know, and in that situation, you can just have, you know, UEE military floating around to help you out as well. But like, that adds so much more immersion. It's just the same mission. It's just instead of loading in cargo, you're getting people on. What happened to the Microtech mission? Jake says it's dead. It was a prototype. Yeah, I mean, they need to add the new NPCs into the game in order for the stealth to work better. Because the new NPCs stealth stuff is fucking cracked. Like, it's nuts. So you'll need to have that systems into the game, and I don't think you're going to have that anytime soon. Probably earliest would be 4.0, if not 3.22, something like that. So once you add, and I think that is an easy addition to the data heist. You have a situation where you can either like wear a uniform and you can disguise yourself to walk in, or sneak your way into a location and start the heist. So there'll be a place where like an optional stealth portions of those. So I just like it how right now it's the optional stealth portion. The mission is effectively get guns, shoot your way in, and hack a terminal. It's the most American solution to a problem. Heavy armor and firearms. Paul, by the way, I love your 300i lore video. It ended up following the link you mentioned to watch the others. Did you? Oh, the complete history of starcitizen lore video? Okay, that's great. I say again, leaving no witness is technically stealthy. So, well, stuff like that at some point, though. We have AI ship piloting tech now. Yeah, that's the stuff that's been working on for Squadron, I think. My nose is completely stuffed. I'm gonna go use the restroom and get my nose unstuffed here for a moment. I'll turn on the sound alerts. I'll be right back, chat. And also, thank you, Joseph, for that Ultra Mega VIP. You rock. That's fucking amazing, actually. Thank you, Joseph.
Good news, everyone.
It was at this moment that he knew. He fucked up.
I'm Fly. I'm Pilot.
All right. Leave this open, and Kit's gonna come in here. You can say hi to the cat. Thank you for watching the 300 dive video. There's Fishy. So I'm probably gonna wrap it up here in a few for in a bit. We've been streaming for almost a little over 2 hours. So if you have any questions or comments or discussions, feel free. The main thing we talked about was the new mission stuff, which is always good. Like the systemic approach to missions. Here, come here. Here, girl. I knew she was. I left the door open just a crack so she would come in. There's no capsule, yes. She's a baby. She's a terrorist. Yes, Kit. You can see the tail. Ah. He's also a wiggler. And she also has a hell of a purr. She's gonna start attacking my hair here in a moment. Cam calls it her Marge Simpson, Kit's Marge Simpson voice. No, you're gonna knock stuff over if you do. Time for you to go now. No Kit. Kit, no. No Kit. No Kit. Let's go. He has this like 20 pack of cigarettes a day kind of voice. It's like she has this Marge Simpson stuff when she talks. I got a topic, Paul. How about you and I kidnap Jake and C Daddy and hold them ransom until NPCs have dialogue and LZs? That would work, except for C Daddy would kill us all. She's Kit, like, wildly dips between being absolutely precious and adorable and being a bully. She would be all over this place. She would be in this camera all the time. But she would also intentionally, like, attack my face while I'm trying to stream. I ain't scared. So you too have your own personal void cat. Yes, the ink spot. We call her an ink spot. Sometimes we call her a void, a portable void. Fun fact, one cat can have one litter from multiple fathers. I didn't know that. That would make a lot of sense. Because her sisters are they look an awful different from her. So both of her sisters are kind of like, they're kind of like Tabby, but they've got like, they had like, they're white and gray. Not Tabby, Calico. They're kind of more like Tabby though. It's like, they're kind of a white and gray splotchy kind of color. And she is just straight black. And their mother is white and gray and splotchy. And she was the smallest of the cats. So Cam actually thought that Kit may have been like an abandoned kitten from another litter that the mom picked, just kind of found and adopted, because she's just so different from the other two cats. So what's Kit's favorite concept ship? That's still in concept? Banner Merchantman. Almost certainly that would be her favorite concept ship. It's her style. She's like a Banu. She's like adorable. But I 100% believe she would sell me into slavery for the right amount of, like, catnip. Oh, she eats everything. Like Cam, so Cam used to do this thing with our other cat who passed away, Abby, where Abby would be very interested in everything Cam ate. But Cam knew, my wife, she knew, like, no. There's no way, like, Abby would be into these things. So she'd be like, oh, you want this? You want this? And so Abby would sniff it and be like, nope, I don't want it, and don't want to walk away. At one point, Cam was eating, I want to say blueberries, and Kit was very interested in what she was eating. So she was like, okay, cool, Kit, sniff it so you know you don't like it. And so she showed her blueberries, and Kit sniffed it and was just like, and just started eating them. And she had to pull them away, like, what the heck? At one point, Kit, like, she ninja'd a chicken nugget off of the plate. And the chicken nugget was about a quarter of her entire body weight. She ate the whole thing. I've seen her eat peas, green beans, salad. Like, she eats shit that cats don't normally eat. She just fucking goes crazy for that shit. Yeah, she's a living waste disposal, which is why she's very Banu. Nature playing with those survival odds, interesting patching. Yeah, she has no sense of self-survival. She will stand on my foot while I'm standing there and just like keep a paw on the foot while she's like looking between my legs. She will go between my legs while I'm walking. Like, she has zero survival sense. Like, she's dangerous because A, she's entirely black. Her fur is entirely black, and she has this dangerous habit of sleeping on the stairs at night. So unless I turn the light on, I could literally step on her, and she wouldn't make a noise until I started putting weight down. She could be up and awake, and see me stepping down and wouldn't move. She has zero survival sense. Or a highlighted murder sense, yeah. Does Kit ever jump down off of your lap and then panic because you're not in the field of view and thus she lost you? Kind of, yeah. She also loves to attack feet, but I know most of the kittens we've had love to attack feet. She has this bad habit of jumping up on our legs and then biting our legs. She would be a great assassin if she could learn to jump. She is the worst jumper in the universe. She can climb, but she can't jump. Street cats don't give a fuck. They're gonna eat. Yeah, she's literally a street cat. We pulled her literally off the streets. Well, you're a teacher. Teach. How am I going to teach her? She's a cat. Appetite of the Banu, disposition of the Vandal. Well, she also has these like little brief moments where she's absolutely adorable. Before she turns, she's learned to turn off my wife's computer. She's learned when she wants my wife's attention. While because my wife works from home. So she's working from home. She'll get Kit, go away, Kit, go away. Eventually she'll come up and turn off the computer and then pop up onto the desk being like, play with me now. She trusts humans way too much. Must have had her since she was an earlier age than previous cats. Yes, but she also chose us. Like, we found her and her sisters underneath our car in the middle of June. So it was like in the middle of July. So it was like 108 degrees Fahrenheit outside. And they were underneath the car for shelter, and it was just them. Their mother had disappeared, and they were there for several days. So we grabbed some of our own cat food and some water and brought it out through our garage to feed them. And Kit just didn't give a fuck. She just walked right up and started eating the food and drinking the water. She had no fear of us, and immediately started walking around the garage like it was nothing, like she owned the place. Did not care. You sure she's a cat? I've seen those Skinwalker videos on TikTok. Listen, you don't own her. She owns you. Yes, I know. I know that. I know this fact. She made herself at home instantly. And the reason why we picked her up instead of her sisters was because we were going to pick up all of them and take them to a shelter. But Cam was like, black cats never get adopted. They never get adopted. And we're like, well, she is really already very friendly with us and isn't at all skittish. So we're like, we'll bring her in. And so we took her in, and the day after we took her in, their mom showed up under the car. And we're like, okay, well, we'll take the mom and the 2 kittens in the next day. So we're set to leave the next day, so we went to go look for them, to like grab them and corral them and put them into like cages and get them to a vet, get them to a shelter, and they disappeared. Now I have found her sister. Her sister is still lives on our street. When I go walking in the mornings, her sister just comes up to me and talks with me, but she's still very skittish. She'll come up and like meow at me, and then if I get too close to her, she'll run away. But I haven't found her mom since then or her other sister, so. Stupid, silly. Yeah, I hate those superstitions. But we already have Jack, who's a black cat, so. All the time. But she doesn't meow. She makes Marge Simpson noises. You know, in The Simpsons, Patty and Selma, when they go, that's what she sounds like. Instead of going meow, she goes, Hold on. This.
Hey, Marge.
That.
Oh, like what you see, huh?
That sound. That's what she sounds like.
I like it when you don't say words. Come here, you.
I mean, she's questioning you. Are all your cats intentionally almost pop culture references? They're all pop culture references. It's because when we got Abby, Abby's full name is Abby Road. The reason why we got Abby Road, why she was named Abby Road, was because that was the name that when we adopted her. She was already 2. And because we already had a naming convention, when we adopted Jack, we called him Jack Flash. Because we had a beetle, so we needed a stone. And then when we got Fancy, we decided to name her Fancy Dancer, which is a song from Rush. It's a Rush song. The reason why we named Kit Kit was because we didn't know if it was a boy or a girl. And Kit's a nice gender-neutral name. Could be Knight Rider. But Cam wanted to name her after one of the actresses who played Catwoman. Because she has these like if you saw her earlier, she has these gigantic bat-like ears on her head. So Fancy named herself, don't lie, probably. To be fair, it's better than Fancy's mom's name, because we actually adopted Fancy because my wife's coworker, or actually my wife's boss, had a cat, and then they had kittens, and they wanted to get them off and give them away, and we got the cat. And Fancy's mom, who's my wife's ex boss's cat, was named Asshole. Can't wait for that Cato to turn off PCs while playing Star Citizen. Yes. Yes. I used to have a cat called DC for damn cat. Yeah, I Kit being black is definitely Knight Rider. Yeah. It's okay. We decided that if we were going to adopt dogs, we'd name them after Roman generals. I think was the idea. Oh man, I've been writing for 12 hours now, about 1,800 words. Hold on, I'm gonna look at something real quickly, and this is not me playing like comparing. I'm just gonna look at how many words I have. Is I'm at 10 pages, I think. Did you say 1,800? Yeah. 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 I'm looking at my word count for the complete history of the Star Citizen verse. To be fair, it's probably about 12 hours in. I'm at 3,800 words. 11 pages. And it's only halfway done. Paul, kind of a random question, but are you part of a teachers union? Teachers unions are illegal in Texas. So I am, but it's not really a union in the same sense, because there is no collective bargaining allowed in Texas. Yeah, it's literally illegal. I think you can still be part of a union, but you can't do collective bargaining agreements like you can. Like the Freemasons for teachers, sort of, they're still regional. This is a regional union I'm a part of. I think all unions are illegal in Texas. Technically. Not the cops union, obviously. That's the exception, I guess, but. Are you gonna name the next one Mandy? For like what, Mandy Moore? Possibly. I think it's a right to work state, so it's weird. Yeah. It's weird. So here's the the rule is Texas is a right to work state. This means that unions are allowed to be here, but it prohibits unions and employers from making agreements that force workers to join the union in order to be employed. And I think it also means that you cannot do collective labor bargaining in Texas. That's also illegal. And it's illegal for Texas employees, public employees, to strike or engage in organized work stoppage against the state or political subdivision of the state. So effectively, public unions are illegal, and Texas public strikes are illegal in Texas. If I participated in a strike, I would be I'd lose my license to teach in Texas. Now, generally speaking, The unions that I do know of that exist in Texas that are public facing are actually pretty powerful, locally, not statewide, but locally. I've had to turn to my union rep a couple of times here, and every time I've turned to them, the district basically collapsed. Like not the district, but the administration instantly collapsed to the problems, because if it's bad enough for me to turn to the union, it's already bad. And I'm also not the first person to complain. I'm going to disagree with that in Francisco, but I don't want to get into that sort of discussion. We're good. I'm good, Crystal King. Tell Kid I'm thinking of joining Team Banner Merchantman. I'm sure she'll say, and then purr. That's how she does this. All right, y'all. I actually wish we as Americans were incentivized to visit other cities around the world just to get out of our little bubble. I mean, this is a discussion I've had before, and I think the one thing that most people need to understand about America is that America is big. Like, I cannot overemphasize the fact that America is fucking huge. Texas alone is bigger than, like, Australia. Or damn near close to it. No, it's not bigger than Australia. I think I'm high on that one. It's huge, though. It's bigger than a lot of countries in Europe. Like, the continent of the United States, man, I'm an American. The continental United States is fucking gigantic. Alaska, yeah. So it's about the same size as Alaska. Alaska's bigger, and as a result, we also have pretty much every single biome on the planet Earth represented in the continental United States. So the reason why Americans don't travel outside the US is because we don't have to. You want to go to a desert? We got deserts. You want to go to a rainforest? We've got rainforests. You want to go to the mountains? We've got mountains, forest, every type of forest that exists just about. You want to go to plains? Plenty of plains. Any type of big cities. So many different cultures represented in so many different places. You could easily find a culture somewhere that you'd probably vibe with to visit. Some of those biomes in the same state, yeah. So, it's the reason why Americans don't travel is because they don't have to. And as a result, it leads to America being very insulated. I agree. Americans should be more outgoing. But it's also expensive as fuck to travel outside the US. We had a news here in Australia this week where an American influence broke down, crying when she found out she had sick leave from her job and that her employer encouraged her to take it when she needed it. Yeah, that doesn't happen in America. The U.S. is the 4th largest country in the world, like by mass or by population, because we're probably both. Like, it's huge. So, rainforest U.S. Yeah, Pacific Northwest. There's a I think it's Washington or Oregon or straddles the line between them is a rainforest. Not to mention that Puerto Rico is also part of the U.S., which has its own biomes, which are subtropical. Plus, you've got swamps and other tropical biomes in Florida and Australia, Alabama, Louisiana, kind of stuff area. Guam, yeah. We also have tundra, Alaska. The Olympic Rainforest. It's near Seattle. Okay, I didn't know exactly where it was, but yeah. I still think traveling to other countries is better as they're countries and by default more different. Yeah, usually like non-English speaking countries is good. I'd love to go to Europe. I haven't had a chance to go to Europe. I was planning to, but then life got in the way. Because I did technically grow up in Spain and England, but that was when I was very young. I was also bilingual in Spanish and English at one point, but I've completely lost that. I was bilingual in Spanish when I was a kid. My wife was bilingual with German and English, but she lost German too. Yeah, but when you have to cross an ocean to get away from your nation, not just cross an ocean, but have to go with 12 plus hour flight sometimes to get to the ocean to cross it. It's like an 8-hour flight to get across the US before you even cross the ocean. Un poco español, pero no es mucho. Barcelona was where my parents lived for a while. I'm an American, but after I was born, my parents lived and worked in Barcelona before I was born. So they went back there to work there for like a year or so. And then from there, they moved to London. And I was in London for a couple of months, like 6 months, and then went back home. I was like very tiny. It's a very tiny baby. I was like maybe between the ages of 1 and 2 sort of thing. Catalan, yeah. My parents still speak a little bit of Catalan. Catalonia. What the fuck are you talking about? I'm just talking about stuff, Rim Runner. Someone was saying, I wish Americans would get more out and about, but it depends. It's about an 8-hour flight. It might be a 6-hour flight. Yeah, that's my point there, I suppose. Is that it's huge. Like, oh, you're talking about that? Yeah, no, that was me mistaking that, because the second I said Texas the size of Australia, the thing that popped in my head was, wait, can't you fit the entirety of the Mediterranean inside of Australia? And I was like, oh yeah, that's a lot bigger than Texas. Do I have a favorite Gundam series? 08th MS Team. 08th MS Team is my favorite Gundam series and will always be. I have yet to finish Witch from Mercury, but I do want to sit down and watch it now that it's all finished. So. I travel a lot and see Americans everywhere. Yeah, but you don't see Americans as much as you think. Considering America's population is like third or fourth largest population in the world, there's not as many Americans that travel as like even like Chinese or probably even Indians. Name this reference. His name is Robert Paulson. It's freaking Fight Club. I know that. Bitch tits. If you call me bitch tits, I will slap you, Execute, because you're going to the Citizen Con and I will slap you there. I wouldn't be surprised if the number of people who travel regularly from like the top 20 countries in terms of population, that America's like at the bottom of that in terms of leaving the country. Yeah, I'm not going to CitizenCon so I can call you whatever I want. You were going to make me come down to the little ass crack of the world to beat your ass, aren't you? Aren't you, Execute? Fun fact, the Tasmanian devil isn't extinct. It's just Execute. Yep, come down to Ashtown to fight me. Execute is the last living Tasmanian devil who's just been hiding in there forever. I thought the Tasmanian devil became the Australians. Rum Runner, I know. I think you're stuck on a very earlier time. I've already said I was wrong about that. Tasmanian tiger, thank you. I've been taking cold medicine, so my brain no work. And I'm you're coming to the ass end of me streaming, so. I will use that as a crutch this entire time. Oh, thank you, Bishop, for gifting Execute a sub. And thank you, Fastcart, for giving a sub for 18 months. I didn't see that for the Prime sub. I think I've turned everything off because it was coming up for a capsule and I forgot. What's cold medicine in Texas? Whiskey? That's part of it. So when is server meshing coming? September 25th, 2023. That's when it's coming. Groheim. Yeah. Server meshing is like a wizard. It's never late. It arrives exactly when it means to. Actually, tell me about the Zeus. What do you want to know about the Zeus? It's the first commercially available spaceship in the Star Citizen lore. It's had several iterations that exist throughout the lore. It's a 3-person ship. It's based off of my calculations and guesstimations mostly. It's probably about the same size as the Connie, maybe a little smaller. It's a cargo ship. So it doesn't have a lot of space for living quarters. Because it's more designed as a short to medium range hauler ship. You could take a Zeus between Earth and Mars. But, and almost all Zeuses didn't have jump drives. They just were equipped with quantums. What does the Zeus look like? Here. We actually have a picture of it. So that's what the Zeus looks like. It's like a giant shuttle. It's like the shuttle and the Concorde had a baby. Zeus is the FTL equivalent of the Ford Model T, effectively, yeah. Sure. Go ahead, execute. It doesn't have the clamshell opening for cargo. It doesn't look like. It looks like it has this back area here is probably the cargo section, but this area here is the living quarters and the pilot. So. Yeah, it's modeled very much after the space shuttle, but space shuttle isn't the only ship with this design. It's let me look it up. Let me show you some other one. The Dream Chaser spacecraft. So this exists. It is an actual. This is an actual ship that exists in real life that the Air Force uses. It's called the Dream Chaser. It's like a miniature shuttle. It's used as a drone, but it does have launch capabilities for like small satellites and stuff like that. But it's launched in the nose of a rocket. It's been around for a couple of years now. It's secret, but it was originally proposed as a replacement for the shuttle because it could be reused. And you can see its similarities between the Dream Chaser and the Zeus. It's very similar. It's called the lifting body because it doesn't require a lot of. It can basically go into the atmosphere and use the atmosphere of Earth to kind of maneuver itself a little bit, so it doesn't require as much fuel. So. I've been curious as to why CIG would want to implement a relic like the Zeus. It's interesting to see why it's of owning a fleshed out pyro. So I think the reason why you'd want to see the Zeus is because it was a pretty common ship in the verse in terms of lore, and the reason why people would buy this, like, there's enough lore hounds out there that would buy this ship because A, it looks like a space shuttle. B, it also is it'd be like a remade Model T. Like, I can't tell you a gearhead that wouldn't buy a Model T if they had a chance to. That's just like iconic. It's legendary vehicle. So, same kind of thing. There wasn't really many variants that we know of. We know that up to a Zeus Mark IV, I think, existed. But I don't know if they were very extensive. I don't know how many Zeuses existed because there wasn't just a Zeus, there was also other ships like the Chariot, which were rapidly iterated on over time. Just like someone having a 32 Ford Roadster or a 57 Chevy, that kind of thing. The X-37B, different ships, is flying. Okay, so it's... I thought that was the Dream Chaser. Aha! It is a different ship. Thank you. Oh, that's a very tiny, a very tiny image. That's also similar. You notice it's the same kind of lifting body design. With the fins and stuff like that. No, that's a penis. How did RSI go from designing this beauty to designing something like the Connies? This was released in the 22nd century. So that was, what, 800 years ago? That's like saying, well, how did Ford go from making the absolute masterclass that was the Model T to developing the disaster that is the modern Mustang? That's literally what you're saying. Original Zeuses are meant to be really rare. They are incredibly rare. Original version Zeuses they're impossible to find. So if CIG was to release a Zeus for us to purchase, it would probably be a recreation of the Zeus. Yeah, like a replica. Modern Mustang is quite nice, thank you very much. It is. That's my point. It's that, like... So if it went in game, would you say the Explorer and Generalist variants? Almost certainly would be a cargo variant. If I was to put a Zeus in game, what I would probably make it as is probably an Explorer, a short-range Explorer, and a cargo. Because they were really designed as a cargo variant, as cargo ships. They did have some limited exploration abilities. If I was to write the lore of a Mark II Zeus or of a replica Zeus coming in, I would say it wouldn't be an Asperia redesign working with RSI. Because the people who would have the original design documents for a Zeus would probably be a combination of RSI's archives and Asperia. They have the experience. Asperia has the experience of taking older ship designs and modernizing them. Because the Talon is fucking ancient. It's 2540s technology. So it's like 400 years old. Even if you took the more modern updated versions, which were the Talons, which is not the ones they had, that's still 300 years old. And I know there's ships that have been flying around that are that old, but like the Gladius is not the Mark I Gladius is not the same as the Mark VII Gladius. The Mark I Gladius doesn't fucking exist anymore. The Mark VII or the Mark VIII, I think, is the one that we have now. So it's like the original F-15 Eagles don't exist anymore. There are the F-15E or whatever, or I can't remember the modern iteration of it, or the F-16E. Is it the F-15X? Follow-up question. Bounty hunting was shown at ISC for the end of the year. Is that still on track in your knowledge? No. I don't think so. They're not going to have anything significant in 2021. I don't think so. So just as the Hull Sea is the most commonly occurring vessel, the Zeus is being popular in the same way. Don't fix what ain't broke. Kind of, yeah. And the F-16 is Block 70/72. Yeah, but the F-16 was developed in the 1970s. You know? It's 2023. It's been a long fucking time. but like the F-15, the F-16, the versions of the F-16s don't exist anymore. They've either been scrapped or entirely retrofitted for modern technologies. It's kind of the same thing with like the Gladius. Like Mark I Gladiuses do not exist because they've been updated. Hey, the buff's gonna outlive us all. The B-52, oh fuck. B-52 is gonna be over a century old. You worked on the Block 40 and 42 F-16 in 94, which was, I hate to take this there, Wanderer. Wanderer, don't get mad. That means that you were working on that block was 40 years ago? No, my brain, no work. 30 years ago. Yeah. I'm sure there's a Mark 1. I mean, I really hope CIG puts older models of ships that have been around for fucking ever in the game. I want to see an older model of the Aurora, for instance, or the Constellation, because the Constellation is a Mark 5 Constellation. It's like 200 years old, the Constellation design. These Block 7072 is not a retrofit. It's a fresh off the factory line. Yeah, but I mean, it's a lot of the body of the modern F-16s is the same body that you would have saw in the original. They just the F-16's a lot more upgradable, a lot more modular than say the F-15 was. No, there was no there was no confirmation that the Zeus was being released. There was a hint that the CIG wanted to release historical ships in a quarterly lore makers questions earlier this year, and there'd been mentions of it before that. Because they mentioned that not only did they want to do it, but that the ship design team had some interest in doing it. And then there was a rumor, and again, anything that's not directly in the code, take with like heaping piles of skepticism, from a unnamed, unverified source, that the Zeus was going to be released. The Zeus Mark II was going to be released at CitizenCon. And we could still see that. Again, because there was a mention of it earlier, but yeah. The B-52 becoming a bomber in Star Citizen, I would fucking die, and I would 100% believe it. That thing's gonna outlive the apocalypse. Fucking the buff. Don't worry, we'll take out the Xi'an or the Van Duel with our RSI 52. Fucking shit. Or the M2, or the is it the M2? The machine gun, the Browning heavy machine gun, 50 cal. What is it called? It's the M2, right? That shit's over 100 years old, still being used. Fallout New Vegas would agree with you. The B-52 outliving apocalypses. Yeah, I think the one that they showed in is actually a B-3. It's a prop bomber, but yeah. Someone I know thought that the Pegasus was going to be released. I tried to break it to them. Yeah, we're not going to see the Pegasus. The Pegasus is a Squadron 42 ship though, or one of the Squadron 42s. B-39, yeah. B-29, okay. Or 39, yeah. I don't think F-16 is a profanity, no. You know, hump an M2 barrel once, it sucked, mountain motherfucker. You know that hill, you know what I'm talking about? The Pegasus is a escort carrier. As far as we know, it's still planned. It was removed from the lore, or at least was failed to be mentioned in the lore for a bit, and then was eventually returned to the lore shortly after that. B-36 Peacemaker, okay. It's documented that 3 generations have flown the exact same B-52. I know. I'm sure there are plenty of crayon eaters here. What was really weird is that one of my students turned to me in class and asked what flavor I liked. And he looked at me and I looked at him and I'm like, flavor of what? And he's like, you know. And I went, I'm not a Marine. I don't eat crayons. And he went, he knows. He immediately turned to me because his friends were at the table. It's like, you know, Mr. Shelley knows. And it was just like, and then I'd forgotten that that student is joining the Marines. So he knew the joke. It's like, God damn it. I did ask him what his favorite flavors were, and he just gave me just random flavors. I'm like, you have to have a reason. There's got to be a reason why you like those colors. It has to be absurd. That's the rule. I don't make the rules. That was memed out of existence. Apparently not. Hey, Adam W. Do you think that far in the future we could see historical ships, the rare find would need to be restoration before use? I'd love to see that. And I think CIG has the desire and the skill set to do those sorts of things. Do you notice the Buccaneer is the Star Citizen version of the A-10? I would say the Buccaneer is the Star Citizen version of the... You ready for this? Aardvark. The Ares is the A-10. The Ares Inferno is the A-10. It does shit fire. The F-111, baby. The coolest fucking looking plane that America's... What? I should say not the coolest. One of the coolest fucking looking planes that America's ever produced. All right, I'll leave you with this discussion since you're all talking about Marines. Two things. First of all, I know I have a Navy brat for a wife because when I forced my wife to play Halo, because she's not a console player, and I made her play some console games when we first started dating, she kept screaming, "Go meet Shields," when she was playing, and I was like, what are you doing? And she was calling all her Marines meat shields. And I'm like, what do you mean? She's like, that's what Marines are good for. They throw themselves in front of the bullets so you survive. And then I was like, oh fuck, you play a Navy personnel in in Halo, don't you? Because you're Master Chief. And she's like, yeah, that's what Master Chiefs do, right? It's like, God fucking damn it. The other thing is the question I have for you is, do you believe that UEE Marines have their own favorite crayon equivalent? Fishy got the joke. The Inferno is the A10, yeah. Yes, chairs. Oh my god. The idea of UEE Marines being memed as just eating chairs is too fucking perfect. I know what you meant, but still. The idea of Marines just fucking consuming chairs for nutrients, it just fucking works. Quick flares, they're pretty colors. Yeah, that could work. I will ask the lore team, what is the Marine, do UEE Marines have an equivalent to US Marines and their love of crayons? To give you a context of the UEE Marines, they're absolutely insane. Like to be a UEE Marine is like would be like taking yourself like intentionally taking yourself and ramming yourself through a concrete wall until you either black out or die. And if you wake up from being blacked out, you continue doing so until either you die or the wall breaks. That's effectively the experience of being a UEE Marine. When you when you join the UEE Marines, first off, you don't join the UEE Marines. They choose you because literally you can't join. They're selective service. They pick people out of training to join the Marines. And by training, what they do is there's no like boot camp as far as I can tell. There's no like physical fitness. They just give you gear and they drop you onto a frozen hellscape that is Corrin and say, come back in 6 months. If you're alive, you're a Marine. Actually, no, they don't even say that. If you're alive, then you get to train as a Marine. Corrin is a hellscape. It is a world that I think technically is habitable, but is entirely frozen. Like, probably similar to the situations of the coldest ass crack of Antarctica. So the ideas of Marines sucking on flares is probably not too far off that, because it's probably the only way you could stay warm in Corrin. Sounds like a really bad way of training people. I don't think they actually let you die, but because I think they monitor you, but they force you to live 6 months above ground. And it's basically you either become a Marine or you don't, or you go home. There's no options for that. If you survive the hellscape that is Corrin, then you're allowed into to the main base of Corrin, which is underground, which is where the Marines live and work and train and that kind of stuff. And that's where you get your specific training and you go through your specific stuff. But all Marines have to go through Corrin hell before you get that. So. What Trish is saying, AstroPub, is don't eat the yellow snow on Corrin if you can get there. There's an entire Marine battle fleet that's just protecting Corrin, and they don't ask questions. They just shoot you if you get too close. It's probably the most protected location in the UEE. Corrin hell to get to the Corrin hole? Yes. I know what yellow snow is execute. If you can see yellow snow on Corrin, you've already surpassed a lot of other people. This is how Master Chief was born. Why? Because the Marines are like, they're not really the same kind of idea as Marines in modern day. The UE Marines are they're their own branch. So they don't have the, like, they do serve on Navy ships, but they have their own fleets that they operate. And Marines are a cross between modern Marines and Special Forces. So Marine training is very similar to like modern SEAL training or Delta Force, or it's putting you into absolute extreme conditions and forcing you to survive. And if you do manage to do that, then they put you through other extreme conditions depending on what version. So like 6th Platoon is the Special Forces version of the Marines. Do you think Squadron's going to start us off in basic? I do believe that Squadron's, I think you will be in basic. Well, no, I don't think you'll be in basic. I'm almost certain you'll go through flight school, though. I ask, knowing that you know the answer. Do you think we can get picked as a Marine Squadron 42? No, I don't think so. Squadron 42 would, Tree 0311 and I both believe that if CIG were to do a spin-off of Squadron 42, you'd probably be Marine. You'd probably be 6th Platoon. It'd be kind of like the FPS version of Squadron's story. So. No, you're a Navy pilot in the UE, in Squadron 42. So basically what I'm hearing is that the U.S. Marines with Halo training and Navy SEALs training and Spetsnaz training and every other country training all rolled up into one bikini bit of Navy. Spectrum badge idea. Snow code legend. You managed to make it to Corrin and eat the yellow snow. Call of Duty Vanduul Invasion. Yeah, I'd expect like a Rainbow Six or Ghost Recon kind of story for 6th Platoon. All right, y'all. With that, I'm gonna call it a night because it is. I've been streaming for over 3 hours, and I probably shouldn't be doing that because I should get some sleep. Thank you for hanging out. Thank you for watching. I will see you all tomorrow for a little bit of Star Citizen, and then we're going to play some Titanfall. So if you want to play some Titanfall with me, Big Stompy Robots, Titanfall 2, you can come join us for that one. Because Titanfall got an update and that kind of stuff, so it'd be cool to play that. And then we'll be early on Saturday for a Captain's Table. We're going to be talking about Arena Commander, specifically, as well as just 320 in general. Well, like, did CIG make the right decision for releasing 320 in its state, that kind of stuff. And then Sunday, we're going to be doing a 12-hour stream. So I'll be starting bright and early, like 8 or 9 in the morning, and then we're going to be going till late. So X, I think I said Sunday after stream. I mean Saturday after stream. I can help you out with the streaming, the kind of recording stuff. So, and that's going to be for a streamathon to help support for the cost of CitizenCon. So you can come join it. We'll be playing Star Citizen probably the entire time. So we'll be doing giveaways and stuff as well. You know, come join us for that. Thank you for hanging out. Love your faces. And like I say every night, hope to see you someday in the black. Raid.